Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a Talk Thursday video. You guys really seem to like these like story time videos, so I am going to continue trying to share a little bit more about myself with you all. I'm gonna throw away this gum because this is gonna get annoying. So also, if you guys can tell, my hair is a little bit lighter. I wanted to originally go darker, but my mom convinced me to go lighter, so here we are. I now have lighter hair. I also want to say, if you guys see any other videos after this with me in dark hair, it's because those were filmed already. I used to be able to kind of like mix them around. I didn't really put them up in order of how I filmed them, but like now it's gonna be weird because you guys are gonna see videos with me in dark hair. Shouldn't be too many, should just be a couple, and then we'll return back to the lightness. So this story time about how we broke into someone else's house. Now before you think, whoa there Bianca, like you broke into someone's house, but your last story time was about like someone trying to break into your house. Now you're breaking into someone else's house. Well, let me explain. So my mom was doing something for like the church, and they were like organizing an event. It was her and like two other ladies, I think. And so on this particular time, my dad was going to like a separate meeting, and then she had to go to a meeting that was probably like an hour away, and she didn't feel comfortable leaving us at home by ourselves. I don't even remember how old we were, but she just didn't feel comfortable leaving us by ourselves just because it was going to be late. No one was going to be home until like really late. So she was like, well, just come with me, and then you guys can like do something over here. Both of the ladies have daughters, you guys can go and hang out with them. And I was like, okay. We got to the meeting or whatever, and my mom and the ladies started having their meeting, and me, my sister, and these two other girls were just like meeting each other, like, hi, nice to meet you, my name's Bianca, blah 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 blah. What ended up happening was that at some point we kind of got bored of just being inside, and they lived like in this gated community that had a park really close by. You can see the park from their house, and it was just like right down the street. So they were like, do you think you guys can ask your mom if she'll let you guys go to the park with us, because that's where we're gonna go? And I was like, okay, sure. So we were like, hey mom, can we go? The park is just like right down the street, you can see it from here. And my mom was like, okay, sure. Let's keep in mind, my mom has always been a little bit stricter as to who we hang out with and letting us go places, so it was kind of cool that she actually had let us go to the park with these girls. Once we're at the park, we're just like hanging out, listening to music, talking about our favorite bands, our favorite songs, and that's kind of what's going on. And then one of the girls whose house we were at, she said like, hey, we should go over to my friend's house because she has something that I let her borrow and they're moving, and I really want to go pick it up before they move. And we were just like, well, I don't know if like we're allowed to go over there because, you know, we told my mom we would be here at the park. And she was like, well, it's actually not that far. You can still see the park from my friend's house. It's like the house right behind her house, so like on the next street. Their yards were back to back. She was like, yeah, it's just gonna take like 5 minutes. You guys can wait outside and then we'll be right back at the park. And I was like, okay, why not? Like, she's just gonna go pick this up, we're just gonna walk. And again, she lived like in a really nice area, like the really nice houses, gated community. It should be fine, okay? Like what's gonna happen in a gated community? Okay, this is where things went completely south. So we're walking and walking and walking, and we get to this house that's her friend's house. This is where I should have seen like the red flag. First of all, there was no cars on the driveway. There was like nothing there. The house was like, no one was there. We saw that there was a for sale sign in front of the house, and I was just like, oh. She's like, yeah, my friend's moving, she's here, but we're just gonna have to go the back way to get into her house. And I was just like, what, to get into her house? And she's like, yeah, my friend said that we could like just go through the yard, it's always unlocked, you know, we've been this way before. And I was like, okay, well, we'll wait here. And she's like, well, you should come because some of the neighbors are gonna think that you're trying to break into the house because you're just standing there. And I was just like, okay. So like, you know, we're walking with them or whatever. I think the front area, like wherever there was windows, they had curtains, so it made it look like someone was living there. You know, the girl, I guess she had been here plenty of times because, you know, she like knows how to unlock the gate to the back. It doesn't have a lock on it. So we're walking back there. Another like red flag was that you couldn't hear really any noise coming from this house. Like, you know, if someone's inside, there's usually noise, people are talking, people are watching TV, music, whatever, right? But again, me at this point, not even thinking, like, I'm thinking this girl is telling the complete truth. We walk over to the back of the yard, and you know, I'm just standing there like, oh my gosh, like I can see her house from where I'm standing, the girl's house, I can see her house. I'm like, okay, we should be fine. All of a sudden this girl picks up a rock from the backyard. It had like a little area where it had rocks, and it was like a pretty decent sized rock. She picks up a rock, and I'm like, what is she doing? And before I can even finish saying that in my head, she threw the rock to like the sliding doors, like the glass doors in the back of the house, broke the glass. Like, what? Like, who does that? So then I'm just like, oh my gosh, Casey, let's go. As soon as I finish saying that, the other girl has a rock in her hand and is breaking, like, I guess like a kitchen window, or I think it was a kitchen area. And I'm just like, okay, we gotta go. So as soon as I heard that those girls threw the rock, me and Casey were like running. It wasn't her friend's house. She full on lied to us and said that it was her friend's house, but it wasn't. And at this point I am like scared, because I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna go to jail, because some gated communities have like the security guards that are on guard, I guess. We had seen it when we were driving into the house, and we're like, oh, look at it, it's a security guard or whatever. I remembered that, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was just like, we are gonna get caught, we're gonna go to prison. They're gonna be like, well, what did you do? Blah, 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 blah. So then we run all the way to the park. These other girls are not even running, okay? These girls are like walking, like taking their sweet time getting to the park. Like, no one heard this like giant glass breaking, okay? Because there's houses everywhere else, and that was the only house that didn't have anyone living in it. So then they're walking, and me and Casey, we get to the park, we sit on the bench, and I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, we're gonna go to jail. We're gonna go to jail. They're gonna get all of us, and they're gonna be like, well, you didn't do anything, but you're gonna go to jail. And so it scared me so much. I mean, I'm not a rebel child like that. Like, I don't do that stuff. They get over there and they're laughing. They're just like, oh, that was so funny. Oh my gosh. And I was just like, really? You think that was funny? Breaking someone's house? You think that's funny? Like, you full on broke into someone's house. Like, you broke into their yard and then broke the glass. Like, what are you thinking? I told Casey, like, once they got to the park, I was like, okay, Casey, let's go back inside. I'm really thirsty. That's the excuse I used, because I was just like, I can't even deal with these girls. We walked into the house. The rest of the night we all stayed in the house. We were just like talking about movies and talking about like different stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm just waiting for the security guard to come and knock on the door and be like, these girls were involved in a crime and criminal activity, take them away. Once it was time to leave, I was so relieved, because I was like, okay, like, maybe they're not gonna arrest any of us, because I was like, I didn't do anything. And literally as soon as we got in the car, I told my mom, you want to know what those girls did? It's like, Mom, those girls took us to this house saying that we were gonna go pick up something from this girl's friend. It was right behind the other house, so we didn't think there was anything wrong, and these girls break into the backyard and break a glass in the back. Like, what? I remember that she laughed and she was like, okay, next time you guys are gonna stay home, because I trust you guys more at home than with somebody else's crazy kids. Every time after that, I don't think my mom ever took us to one of her meetings again. I don't know. It was really weird. And the fact that they made themselves to be like good girls to their mom's faces, that's kind of what's like weird. Like, really? You would do that? And your mom is like downstairs planning some event for church? Like, what? If you guys have ever had any experiences like that, when people tell you one thing and it's like completely the opposite, go ahead and let me know in a comment down below. I would love to hear it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.